Hey there guys, PC Guy here with news in tech and gaming for the week, and as usual there is not a whole lot of actual information this week as in terms of real launches, reveals, that sort of thing, but there are some interesting things that we've been hearing about both graphics cards and Intel's upcoming 10th generation core CPUs, so yeah, stay tuned for that. We're starting off with just a short info about Radeon's RX 5950 XT, as it is supposed to be called, the latest graphics cards from AMD that we're all waiting for, that is supposed to be taking out NVIDIA's 2080 Ti's throne in terms of performance and, well, hopefully also in terms of pricing. It's no concrete information, but we have been hearing a lot of rumble about the certifications and stuff that had been filed for these cards. About 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago, we heard that it had been submitted for RA certification, which is filing that needs to be done for it to sell specifically in Korea, I believe. And we hear now that it has passed that certification, so it might indicate a release within the next month. If the trend is to be followed from the previous graphics cards that were all released after a month after passing certification. On the other hand, as the article details, it could be just a refresh of some other Navi GPU, but the possibility is quite strong that it is actually the 5950 XT that we are, all waiting for. I've maintained for a while now that it is in AMD's best interest to launch this supposed 2080 Ti killer, as they call it, as soon as possible rather than wait, because then they'll have to compete with NVIDIA's next generation Ampere, which will most likely be a sizable amount faster than their current one, and it is unknown if this card that they have in store would actually be able to compete with that and win. So if they can actually beat the 2080 Ti, then they should beat it sooner rather than later to get some mindshare, to get some sales out before NVIDIA has something even better out there, and well, then kind of steals AMD's thunder. So yeah, we'll see how long it actually takes them to do that. Again, no guarantees that it's actually going to be within a month, also no guarantees that it's going to be the actual graphics card we're here talking and discussing, but the indications seem to be quite strong in that favor. On the NVIDIA side, however, they also have not been idle. While details on Ampere are still scarce and not much is really known in terms of specs and the release schedule, we have an RTX 2080 Ti Cyberpunk edition that has been popping up all over the internet for the past week and a half. There was some speculation that it might be 2080 Ti Super or something of the sort, but that seems to be largely unfounded, and it seems to be more a collaboration with Cyberpunk to deliver a themed GPU. Only 200 of these were made. They are not being sold, mind you cannot just go out and buy one. They are specifically made to be given out in competitions and things of the sort. It is a plain standard 2080 Ti with a custom shroud and cooler. So yeah, that's basically all that it is. Right now there is a competition on the NVIDIA website with Twitter, Instagram or Facebook that you can have a chance to win one of 77 if you tag a friend or gamer, and both of you will receive a card, a custom card. Don't ask me how they are giving cards to both the person who wins and the person they tag, so 2 people, and yet giving in total 77 cards, because you think it would be an even number if they are giving it in multiples of 2. But yeah, I'm not quite sure how that works, unless they mean 144. In any case, you can't just go out and buy it, like I said, so if you're into this one of these, keep your eye on competitions and such from NVIDIA to get some chance at winning. There will also be some cards that will be auctioned and rewarded to fans in special events, auctions for charity, that sort of thing. So yeah, that's basically what these cards will be used for. On the CPU side of things, things don't seem to be looking great for Intel, although this kind of contradicts other benchmarks and stuff that I've seen leaked over the last week or two. So yeah, it's all still a mess and you don't really know what you can expect. But this one seems more in line with my expectations and honestly quite understandable. Some benchmarks for the i9 10900, and mind you, this is not a K version, this is the locked multiplayer version, which is supposed to be a 65 watt TDP part in place of 95, And yeah, it has some pretty disappointing results in the benchmarks that were leaked. Keep in mind, this was an engineering sample somehow obtained by the Hong Kong tech site X Fastest. Yeah, it's a 65 watt part with 10 cores, 20 threads. So you can imagine that the core clocks are not amazing when it has to be feeding that little power to so many cores and threads. But yeah, it does not bode well for Intel that their new generation cores are basically being left in the dust by AMD's parts. Of course, this doesn't necessarily mean that the 10900K won't be a good part. It probably will beat the 3900X in single tower performance. I have very little doubt of that. The question is by how much and how much will it cost. Keep in mind that it will require a new motherboard because this is a new socket, not the LGA 1151 that has been used for the previous generation. So yeah, you can factor that also into the costs of upgrading to those CPUs if you so wish to do. And if they are going to be better than previous generation by a small margin, then what's the point really? It feels like more just launching something for the sake of putting something out there. I don't necessarily think it will be a huge hit, but I could be proven wrong. They could have had some optimizations there. There is some sort of new turbo speed called velocity boost that is not really understood exactly how it works. It might be something similar to AMD's PBO, but we'll have to see exactly how well that goes. 9th generation already ran really hot. These are going to be added 2 cores and enable hyperthreading on all chips. So yeah, we'll have to see exactly how that is going to work out. The CPUs are rumored to be revealed or launched around end of March, start of April. So hopefully we'll be having some more concrete and accurate news by then. Well, on the topic of 10th generation Intel, some benchmarks on Cinebench from the i7 10700F have been showed. The F just means that it has no integrated graphics, mind you. And it seems to be kind of on par with the 3600F from AMD, kind of stuck in between the 3600 and 3700X from AMD. So yeah, not horrible, I suppose, on single thread, and in multi-thread performance seems to be on par-ish with the 3700X. Once again, hard to tell with certainty if these numbers actually add up, if they are actually real or not. This is the F version. The K would be slightly faster. It has a little higher TDP of 95 in place of 65. It has slightly faster clocks, so it probably would deliver some better results. But yeah, I have to keep in mind that this is competing with current generation AMD and not the next generation that will be launching sometime later this year and will be the actual competition for it. While on topic of AMD CPUs, apparently the B550 boards are making an appearance. Everyone has kind of been waiting for them for the last year, since they are supposed to be functional yet a lot cheaper alternative to the X570 that are supposed to be paired with the current Zen 2 generation. They should supposedly feature PCIe 4.0 and enough VRM to actually overclock the beefy 3rd generation Ryzen chips, the article says. So they should perform a bit better when you are pushing your chips or putting higher end chips in there, from like, for example, 37 or 3900X or something like that. And Steve from Gamers Nexus has actually gotten his hands on one. He had an in-depth video on it this morning, I believe, so feel free to check it out if you are interested in this topic. And apparently the issue seems to be that they are, so far, only available on OEM PCs, so pre-builds. And you cannot just buy a B550 board off the shelf and use it for your own build. Now, obviously, the biggest draw of these boards is you don't have to worry about updating your BIOS to be able to use a Ryzen 3000 series chip on it. So if you don't have a previous Ryzen that you can use to just do the BIOS update and then switch, that wouldn't be a problem anymore. And obviously, they would also be a lot cheaper than the X570. So yeah, that would definitely be good. The X570s aren't necessarily crazy overpriced, I would say. They are kind of on par with what Intel's boards have been for the past several years. This just means that the people that were used to AMD motherboards being kind of the budget choice, and they were always a lot cheaper than Intel's motherboards, now they're kind of on the same level in terms of price. So yeah, people are kind of caught by surprise and they're not really used to that. Uh, Other alternative explanation is that PCIe Gen 4 is largely useless unless you're dealing with large file transfers or something like that. So yeah, it's overpriced for a reason that you don't really see much of a return on. However, it also means that the build quality of these boards is now better than it has been in the past, which, well, should be a good thing, but yeah, that's gonna cost you. Stepping away from the tech news for now, Stadia has made a small PR blunder by basically confirming that Baldur's Gate 3 will be out this year. We have had some teasers from the developers behind Baldur's Gate that something big was going to be revealed soon, but there was no actual announcement yet. And now, on a small comment on Google Stadia page, you see the text, you're already looking forward to Doom Eternal, Get Packed, Proximus Die 3, Baldur's Gate 3, and many more games coming to Stadia this year. So they are basically confirming that Baldur's Gate 3 is in development, that it exists, and that it will be coming out this year. PC Games contacted the developer behind Baldur's Gate, Larian, and according to them, they were included in that lineup email in error. So according to them, they should not have been there. Now the question really is if they should not be in there because the game will be not launching this year, or if they were there in error as in that they did not want it revealed. We are thinking that it probably is the second option. I am kind of thinking that it might well be coming this year, probably towards the later end of the year, if that is the case, considering the game, from what I hear, seems to be still not completely polished and finished, so yeah. But we'll see about that. Keep in mind there is no actual confirmation that it will be really in 2020. Last article doesn't have a whole lot to do with either tech or gaming, to be quite honest, but with YouTube and, well, Google in general, and AdSense, which is what a lot of pages out there on the internet and channels on YouTube as well use to have monetization enabled and receive money via their ads. Turns out some people are using that as a tool to extort content creators and page managers. You can imagine Google's AdSense has tools inbuilt to prevent people from taking advantage of the system by just fake clicking or developing a bot or a clicker or something to just click ads endlessly to provide them with increased income. And obviously AdSense has tools and detections against that. Now, apparently some people have decided to turn those detection tools against Google and the creators working with Google by sending an email to several sites, basically extorting them. And it reads, and I will quote, "Very soon the warning notes from above will appear at the dashboard of your AdSense. This will happen due to the fact that we're about to flood your site with a huge amount of bot-generated web traffic," and then there's a bunch of technical stuff, like with 100% bounce radio and thousands of IPs in rotation. And we will adjust our bots to open in endless cycle with different time durations, every AdSense banner on your site. The email goes on, but the gist of it is that the people being extorted are supposed to be sending the scammers $5,000 in Bitcoin within 3 days of getting the email, otherwise they will start being hit by these attacks, supposedly. As for the moment, as far as I could find, there have not been actual attacks following up on these threats, and there have also not been any payments actually delivered to the people running this extortion racket. However, it does raise the question, if someone were to be targeted by this, then how exactly do you get out of this? It might be difficult to convince Google that you are innocent in all of this, and even if they do believe you, what guarantee is there that they would somehow find a way to make your website kind of not be vulnerable to this, or to somehow separate the fake targeted fake monetization from the actual ad clicks and ad revenue they should be getting? And I have a sneaky suspicion that Google will probably just cut their losses and just terminate your AdSense account and leave your websites or channels without any proper monetization or income. This is especially an issue for companies that run multiple sites with that depend on AdSense to actually have the revenue to keep running the sites and such like that. So yeah, let's hope that this is the last that we hear of it. And yeah, thankfully I don't have to worry about that yet since the channel is not monetized. But yeah, it's a pretty scary prospect for people that really depend on AdSense to make a living. This has been it for the news in tech and gaming for the week. Hope you guys have caught up and have found some interesting stuff. Like I said, it was mostly leak speculation, spotted benchmarks that we never know if they're real or not. But it's what we can get our hands on at the time of the release cycle, where there's not a whole lot of actual news, not a lot of official information released, and everyone's just kind of waiting for the other one to make a move to be able to reply. You see this between AMD and NVIDIA in the GPUs, between AMD and Intel in the CPUs, Sony and Microsoft with their consoles. And there's this little duopolies going on that one is really just waiting for the other to make a wrong move. And we are not getting a whole lot of concrete information right off the bat until the very last moment. But in any case, I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Drop a comment and a like if you have, to help us get some more traffic out there. Consider checking our other videos or subscribing to the channel if you'd like to help us grow. That's really the most important thing you can do, that and sharing the videos. If you'd like us to grow in the future, like I said, and be able to do better content, more content, have more hardware on hand to, well, just to provide you guys with better videos really. So hope I'll see you guys in the next video, and in the meantime, have fun.